walking through the Capitol with John is quite the experience because every 10 seconds he sees somebody he knows, and he's off to say hi to a senator or a congressman or this, that, and the other, and it's quite a feat to see. So, John, thank you for joining us today.
Jonathan, I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. Happy Friday to everyone. Great to be with you. Jonathan, thank you to Atmos for being such a strong supporter of local chambers and obviously being a great partner with us. And we really appreciate everything Atmos does. And thank goodness for natural gas on a morning like this. So thank you to Atmos. And Jonathan was too kind. What he really wanted to say is John's been doing this so long that he does know a lot of people just because I've been doing it so long. So, but what are we in store for in 2022 is a great question. I think to begin with, we can expect a pretty bumpy ride this year, as we've all probably kind of seen that already. Capitol Hill is still shut down for the most part. There's very little activity. The House doesn't even, for the most part, meet in person. They're virtual. Everyone is trying to make sense of what is going on in DC. I was able to get there twice towards the end of last year, and the city is pretty much dead. And now you've got to show proof of a vaccination card and your ID even to get into a restaurant there. So there's just no real sense of a legislative agenda coming out of Congress right now. Now that all could change. But I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But as far as the economy, you guys, I mean, we're feeling great in Texas. Oh, and by the way, Jonathan, I don't cover the entire country. I only cover 8 states. So it's only eight out of 50 states.
Oh, that's
yeah, that's it. The economy finished strong last year. I mean, the fourth quarter GDP numbers were good, and we're, a lot of economists are saying we're expecting 4% growth this year. However, serious challenges continue. I mean, this workforce shortage in just about every sector is real. We have about 3 million less people working than were working pre-COVID, so through February of 2020. Our quit rate is the highest ever in, maybe y'all saw that in November, something like 4.5 million people quit their job. And the supply chain issues continue, and inflation is the highest since 1982. If you remember a year ago, economists called it transitory, but now most of them have said it's going to expect it to be with us for a while. And I hate when people bring up the year 1982, because that is the year I graduated from high school. And it's just a reminder, again, how time is slipping away here. We've had, as a country, we've had a history of underinvestment in many of these issues like transportation and infrastructure. Congress has not provided the investment needed to keep up with our growing economy for years. But for some good news, speaking of transportation and infrastructure, after more than 20 years of hard work, and the Chamber's been working on this since the late 90s to get a substantial investment in transportation and infrastructure. We finally got a bipartisan infrastructure bill passed last year. No means it wasn't a perfect bill. There were a lot of things that we didn't like about it, especially on the pay for side, but it was bipartisan, and we were very supportive of getting that passed. And Texas is expecting to get $35 billion. It's a down payment. There's still a lot more to do, but it's a significant down payment. And as we'll see, some of that bridge money starting to get allocated, which is desperately needed. And on the other, and some more good news, Build Back Better package, which included tax increases for businesses and a host of other issues, was, I think, finally defeated this week. Even proponents are saying there's no clear path forward for this bill in its current form. And depending on your view, thanks to Senator Manchin and Sinema for saving the Senate this week and by holding firm on the filibuster rule, and they've all along been opposed to Build Back Better. So we're happy about that and thankful for those two senators. Last week, last Tuesday, Suzanne Clark is our new CEO of the U.S. Chamber, who took the reins from Tom Donahue, who was there for, I believe, 26 years, 25 years. And Suzanne Clark is our first female CEO of the U.S. Chamber, and we've been around 110 years this year. And so at our State of American Business last week, she highlighted several issues that we feel really need to be addressed this year. Long-term employment challenges in supply chain, specifically truck drivers. I think maybe y'all have heard the shortage of truck drivers. Some estimates are 80,000 short. So difficulties in hiring enough for the level of demand. It existed prior to COVID, but COVID certainly exacerbated that problem and that shortage.
And longshoremen, right? I mean, everybody who's seen a picture of any port knows that we need longshoremen.
Yep. Yes, we need more, and they're also part of the problem in the Long Beach and Port of LA. I'll touch on that in a second. In 2020, that's right, 3 times the number of trucking companies went out of business than in 2019. So, the tariffs on $3 billion worth of goods have increased the costs of those goods arriving from abroad. Quarantine orders mean people who would otherwise be going out and spending money or stuck at home or feel like they need to be. An enormous shift in spending habits of all of us since the pandemic. I mean, we were already ordering a lot of stuff online, but the spending shifted even more to e-commerce, and there was a 40% increase in imports coming into the U.S. compared to 2019. And so that's part of the reason that our system's overwhelmed. So there are many others, us and a lot of our members. You may recall last year when we've been talking about supply chain issues for a while, but we've sat down. We were part of the group of about 15 people that met with President Biden and the White House to talk about, and business and labor, to talk about the issues at the Port of LA and Long Beach. And many of those companies that were there present at that meeting along with us are members of the U.S. Chamber. So it was great that Suzanne Clark was there and was able to attend. But they were able to extend hours, open 24/7, I think they were averaging 16 hours a day. So this working group will continue. They're still meeting. We're part of that working group. Our supply chain experts at headquarters are part of that working group, along with our CEO. So we continue to work on those issues. Those two ports actually are some of the least efficient in the world. I think of the top 50 ports, they rank like 43 and 44 in efficiency. And, they continue, sometimes due to union rules or the union itself, they continue to rely on a manual process, and they've resisted automation, quite frankly. And actually, they've got a big vote, I believe, out there coming up this year. So, there's going to continue to be some problems there. We've also called on President Biden to lift tariffs, the current tariffs that are in place. Many companies are paying 10 times to ship a container, and tariffs only are adding to the cost. Tariffs are a tax, as we see it, and they've just created much additional uncertainty, and it's been affecting us all. So since 2000 through today, of the 11 federal elections, just to change up a little bit here, 9 of those since 2000 have resulted in a change in control of either the House, the Senate, or the White House. And on 4 separate occasions, the results ended up being a unified party control of one party or the other, completely controlling the White House, the Senate, and the House. So we've been living with major portions of federal policy constantly changing on a purely partisan basis every time one of the other parties finds itself in charge in a unified government. And we see it's had a negative impact on economic growth and investment, job creation, and often the rule of law. And so what does that all mean to the business community? I mean, the legislative process, we know this, everybody knows this, can be frustrating, which is exactly how the framers intended it to be. But it's been, lately more so. So we're going to continue to work through the process to build consensus through open debate, an amendment process, which is fundamental to our democracy, and it's essential to our free enterprise system, quite frankly. So having said that, and certainly happy to take questions. Coming up right now, I think the biggest battle after what occurred this week is going to be the continuing resolution. That expires. The current budget that we're in right now expires on February 18th. So we're expecting some political gamesmanship leading up to this next budget battle. We're hoping that it will go smoothly, but we'll see what happens there. So look for that big deadline on February 18th for Congress to get what we're expecting, another continuing resolution to fund the government for the remainder of the year.
Like you said, it's going to be a bumpy ride, right?
Oh, it will be. It will be. We're expecting it, but you never know. Both parties are interested in at least the ones in charge are interested in to get stuff done, and a lengthy battle over the budget is not going to help that. So we'll see though. We're going to continue to bring attention and call for action on the worker shortage, trade, childcare, housing, second chance hiring. The supply chain issues continue. We've always been in favor of legal immigration reforms, and we need more bold chamber advocates like the East Dallas Chamber to help with that. So, 2022 election outlook. I can just say that for those that have been around for a while, it's starting to look and feel like maybe 1994, or for you younger folks, 2010. It's very possible. Most people are expecting the House to certainly change again in control of Republicans. The Senate is still in question, although it's looking more and more favorable. But we've got a long way to go, and Texas is the first primary, at least in my region. Texas is the first primary in the country, being March 1st. So we're going to get a really good sense and a better idea of what the voters are saying, what the vote looks like, what the issues that they're paying attention to. And we kind of already think we know that, but we're really going to know that. It's going to be confirmed after that election. So I hope that was just a little brief overview. I hope that I know we covered a lot of issues, but happy to take questions, and again, appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for everything you all do.
Yeah, no, thank you, John. That's good insight. I know you have a hard stop soon, so cut me off whenever you need to. But would you say that inflation is the #1 economic pusher for this year's election cycle?
It is. Yes, and especially for job creators, small businesses. The costs of employees, basically, there's just the materials that small businesses increase there. It is probably one of the economy, and that still kind of goes in with the economy, inflation, and the economy. So that's probably #1.
And East Dallas specifically has a growing demographic of women and minority-owned businesses. Yeah, and this one hits close to home for me because my wife has a woman-owned business. But what is the chamber doing? What are any points of emphasis to help those types of initiatives?
Yeah, well, we don't focus on that specifically, because what's good for a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business is good for business, right? So and I think especially now, the U.S. Chamber is never up until in 2005. We had our very first female chairman of the U.S. Chamber. So way back in 2005, we were, I think, way ahead of our time. And now we've got the first female CEO in 110 years. So expect a lot from us in the future.
And can you speak to minimum wage? Do you think we'll see a $15 minimum wage in Texas?
Yeah, I saw that. That's up to Texas. That's up to our legislators here. I don't see it. I don't see that happening. If you look at the 4 states, I believe, that have regained all their job losses, Texas being one, Texas, Arizona, Utah, and I think Idaho. They don't have their right to work states, and they don't have their interest or their hourly wages are low, or at least the minimum wage is much lower. So I don't see that. We've always been opposed to an artificial increase in the minimum wage at the federal level. So I don't see it here. And that's why many of those jobs are leaving, right?
Right.
You think the high cost states to the business community, from California, Illinois, New York, and that's why they're moving to Texas, Arizona, Florida.
Right. And I know it's an election year, so I think I know the answer to this, but it seems like every politician is upset of or scared of riling up their base. But do you see the legislative gridlock ending at all anytime soon, or do you think folks are going to be more willing to work across the aisle?
We've been saying this for a long time that we're hoping that this election is going to bring some civility back to our legislative process. I don't see it, but you know what? I think that if Republicans take control of the House and Senate, the president will be forced to work with that majority for 2 years, and so he can choose to veto everything and get nothing accomplished, or work with the Republican-led Congress and Senate and then try to get some of these things done. Hey, Jonathan, one last thing, because I know there's a lot of small businesses there, but this is something the U.S. Chamber, from a small business survey that we did, and I just got this the other day, but the question were, what are the 4 top things you can do as a small business to incentives that would help bring back unemployed workers back. Number 1 was a $1,000 hiring bonus. Number 2 was a flexible workplace hours. Number 3, a positive work environment. And number 4 was employers allowing work from home. So if you're a small business and able to meet those 4 demands right now, that seems to be the 4 top things that will get somebody working for you again.
Well, I know Atmos is no small business, but I'm clearly working in the woods today, and you can probably hear that I'm not the only one at home this morning either. But, no, it's a tough climate for everybody. John, thank you so much for your insights, for joining us today. I know that was a really good program for our chamber, and if it's okay with you, I might send some questions your way to try to get some answered that
please do.
we didn't have time for today.
Yes, and I'll happy to follow up with any information that you need. And one quick shout out to Darlene. I haven't seen Darlene in years, so great to see her, and hopefully I'll see
Nobody's seen anybody in years.
Yeah, right. Hopefully I'll get to see y'all in person at some point. I miss Lakewood Country Club.
Yeah, we can't wait till we can get the band back together.
Yeah,
John, I know you got to hop on another call here, but thank you so much, and good talking to you as always.